Good Up is our space to talk about those experiences in life we didn't know we all had in common. We're the after work happy hour conversation with your best friend.
You good up bad, like, hello.
The place where you bring up the hard parts of life, the ones that made you laugh, and the things that made you who you are. Because who said becoming good up wasn't a little bit uncomfortable? Stay tuned for more information about this week's episode. Hi, Deidre.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Yeah, Ayo, we got shit going on. It's about that time. Like, remember, we said a couple episodes ago, we're going to keep it going until it don't feel easy. And it's starting not to feel easy. Okay? The door knocking, alarms going off. We looking at each other like, okay.
All right, girl. I mean, I love you and I love this show, but when it's break time.
Right. The season has been lit so far. We only have a few episodes left. And I know the girls on Twitter was like, what the fuck you mean you have a few episodes left? Well, I tired. And Deidre tired. And we tired together. And tired bitches don't do nothing but produce shitty content, okay?
Facts.
And if it's one thing me gonna do is produce shitty content.
We're not gonna do that.
And it wouldn't be good up if we wasn't good up. So we have to go get good up again.
Yeah, we got to pour into ourselves and
yeah. And listen, it's right on time because I listen to and I love the read.
You listen to the read?
Yes,
I love it. I've been listening to the read for as long as they've been out. They've been out, 9, 10 years. I love them.
The read is a big part of why Good Up exists. I definitely was inspired by that podcast. And their most recent episode, Kid Fury talked about like his mental health and why like he needs to go stop basically the read for a while indefinitely and take a break and go take care of his mental health. And it was such an emotional, like, guys, if you haven't listened to that episode, go listen to that episode because like even talking about that, I get emotional.
It's funny because I started it but I haven't finished it. Spoiler alert.
It felt like a regular episode for most of it, and then like there was like that ending where like they straight up said like, hey, like we have to go take care of ourselves. And it was mostly Kid Fury who was saying this. But it kind of obviously it resonated with me because it was like, yo, I love putting this stuff out there, but if I am not my full rested, good up self, then not only are we kind of contradicting ourselves on this podcast because this podcast is about being good up and taking care of yourself and doing the work that you need to do, but also just like, I need to go live my life. But we love Ayo, and y'all have been so supportive this season, and this season has honestly been amazing. And we will talk about all those great things and highlights at the end of the season because we're going to go on Instagram Live. We're going to recap the season. We're going to have hopefully some guests, people who listen to the podcast. We'll bring y'all on if y'all want to be on there. So we'll let y'all know when that's happening. But today, we actually ain't talking about that. We talking about ghosting. Because these last couple of weeks in every episode we've brought up this idea of ghosting, and I kept saying like, yo, we need to do an episode on this. So that's what we're talking about today. And ghosting is there's so many layers to it. When I was doing the research for this episode, I was thinking about like, okay, obviously when we think of ghosting immediately, sometimes we think about like
Aquarius
talking to somebody. Aquarius. But you were talking to somebody, you got really into them, you liked them, and all of a sudden contact ceased. They stopped calling, they stopped texting. You're wondering what the fuck. So we think about being ghosted, but ghosting actually has so many more layers because last week in the therapy episode we talked about shit like ghosting your therapist. I've been ghosted by family members. Like there's levels to ghosting. Sometimes people ghost for the sake of their own mental health and they have reasonings behind it, and there's always this argument of like, okay, when is ghosting okay? So I want to talk about all of that and more today, but of course we're going to start with a real basic ABC questions. Have you ever been ghosted? And what was that experience? Like, what was your worst experience of ghosting if you've been ghosted?
Okay. Shout out to this moment of transparency, y'all, because baby. Okay. I don't know that it's the worst, but it's the only recollection I have of being ghosted. So this is all I could share. This was when I had first moved to New Jersey and I started dating. I had swiped on this this like Jewish guy. And I remember we went on a few dates. It was cute. He was helping me look for a car because I was car shopping at the time. So he would be the one to take me to like look at my cars. And I met his friends, all kinds of stuff. It wasn't like no long period, but it was like
you were involved. Like we
were involved. And granted, we didn't sleep together for a while. Like, and then literally when I finally slept with him, he ghosted me. And mind you, and then it gets better because when I did finally sleep with him,
you can't see my face right now because unless you're patrons and you're part of the VIP community, shout out to you.
Yeah.
When my face right now.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Cause we went on several dates. He had like this weekly thing he did with his friends where they all went and played pool together. He brought me along for that. We had a good time. The women in the group like really gravitated towards me and we were chatting. It was really cool. Mm-hmm. He was a divorcee and he had a daughter who was a few years older than Dylan. Obviously the kids never met and we never met each other's kids. But right, even like, that we talked about.
Was it a mutual, like this is casual type thing?
Yeah.
Where y'all looking for partnership?
We hadn't gotten to that conversation yet. I knew I wasn't looking for a partnership, which is why I was just like, bro, you did not have to ghost me. Like, calm down. I wasn't looking for a husband. You know what I mean? It was just me getting to know him. But I remember we were talking about like, parenting, and even like this was when Dylan had first entered preschool. So he was giving me different tips because I had to pack lunches for Dylan. I remember he would share like some of the things that he learned along the way with packing lunches for his daughter. So it was like a whole thing.
A friendship. Like he was invested whether or not. Yeah.
Yes. When
there was rapport.
It was a full-blown rapport. Like legit. Like it was to the point where like he knew I was car shopping because he knew I had just moved up. So he was even like, he would give me advice on like my transition. And I remember like, whenever I came across like a dealership or a car that I was interested in, I would text him and he would legit be like, because he owned his own business. So he would be like, okay, bet I'm leaving the office. I'm gonna come take you to look at this car. It was very much that like, and when I finally gave it up, he planned like this whole thing. He invited me over to his house. He cooked, everything. I spent the night. He bought me this adorable little like teddy. And I remember him texting me. And being like, I bought you something and I hope it doesn't offend you. Like, but I saw it and I thought of you and I hope you like it.
The fuck
and
up.
When I came over, it was this adorable little teddy. It was just so I don't know what the fuck.
So, okay.
It's because so bizarre.
We've talked about this. It's very bizarre. We've talked
bizarre.
about this on a podcast before, right? We had an episode talking about casual sex and we've talked about situations where, people aren't clear about what it is and sometimes people assume things, but I'm sorry. You are taking me on dates. I am meeting your friend circle. You are helping me shop for cars. You purchased lingerie, right?
Literally.
This does not mean that I expect you to marry me tomorrow, but why the fuck would you ghost me after that?
Why would you ghost me after that? And then I didn't ask to come to your house, sir. He legit was like, are you comfortable with coming over to my house? You invited
me into your home.
Right, because after several dates, he asked me if I'm comfortable coming to his house. I was like, sure. So he was like, I'd love to cook for you. We used to talk about art.
Cook for me.
Because that's when I was starting to express an interest in art. And he also had just started investing in art. So we used to bond over art. I remember he had just bought this sculpture at an art museum. And we were both so excited about it. It was this whole thing.
Didra, please know that I am not laughing like at you or at your situation. But it's fuck pissing me off.
It's wild. And I came to his house. He was such a quote gentleman. He was it was a beautiful house. He gave me a tour of the house. He even did this thing where he like showed me the master bedroom. And because he was like, he was kind of like, I won't say redecorating, but he pretty much was like, oh, I need a woman's touch in here. Like, I think it was like a game that he plays.
What
at this point,
psychotic fuck
it was so weird. Hey, Isa, it was so weird. And I will never forget, it was a Saturday night. And then I remember him telling me that his parents was coming into town and he was hosting them and blase blase. And then I just never heard from him.
So
never.
Never. I gonna tell my story at some point, but I want to know, like, what is the thought process after this happens? After you realize that you're being ghosted, how does that feel? And I want you to talk about this because I don't think people realize that, like, the feelings that set in when you realize you've been ghosted don't fucking feel good, okay?
Yeah, it really doesn't. So for one, in the moment, I was initially very confused. And I found myself wondering if obviously, did I do something wrong? Did I say something wrong? Like, what? I'm confused. And then I blocked him because I'm like, I'm not going to keep reaching out to you. Like, I'm not gonna. So I just blocked him, and I felt very used, I felt very used, and I had to process that because for one, I'm just like, it's not like I was coming on strong. It's not like I was implying that I was looking for a husband. None of that. I was essentially following your lead. You know what I mean? It was really weird to me, and it just made me feel the only thing that I could deduce was that he just wanted some booty. And even if that's not the case, whatever it was,
get some ass and tell me that. Like, what are we, fucking 5? You can't use your words, Elmo?
It was just really weird to me. It also, I'm not gonna lie, because that was my first experience with a non-black, well, I should say a white man, right? It definitely made me very like it caused me to buy into that thing that have been poured into us for so long, that white men fetishize black women. At the time, that's what I did. I turned it into, this is all he ever wanted, and I never gave a white man a chance after that, ever. I was like, because this is all y'all gonna do. I had to also be like, no, just because this one man did that doesn't mean that they're all gonna do that to you. And I feel like
that happened.
I am not, to be honest. I'm not.
I mean,
because I didn't do anything wrong. You know what I mean?
You didn't do anything wrong, but you also didn't deserve to feel all of the feelings that you just described. Like, you had to go through a process and actually go through a process of healing just to deal with that, when you could have been spared from that process if that person had just communicated whatever it is they needed to communicate.
Exactly.
I can't speak for why he didn't want to continue the relationship, but fuck, like,
yeah, it was really weird. And it wasn't, and again, I never asked him for anything. It was him who, when we went on our first date, I mean, once I expressed that I had just moved here and I was pretty much in this transition stage, I had just started my job, I was in the process of looking for a car, he was like offering to help me through those processes, and I accepted the help. And it wasn't a thing where he was like doing everything for me, obviously, you know what I mean? But he was very much like, listen, when you come across vehicles that you like, call me, I'll take you to see them. Like, he was very like, it was just so weird. And so that was like a no for me. I was like,
I hope wherever he is, every time he turn on his car, his check engine like come on, but whenever he take it to the dealership, they can't find anything wrong. You dumb bitch.
Yeah, it was really weird. I just was like, bruh, like, what? Like, it was bizarre to me. So
I'm trying not to make this an issue about man, because I'm also going to talk about in the reverse situations where we've ghosted, right? This is not just a man thing, but when men ghost, right? I don't give a fuck who listening. Let me say it right here. You know how I had to stop and be like, well, not all men. I don't give a fuck. When men ghost, that shit, they'll be for dumb fucking reasons. It'll be for shit you could have sent in a text. I will stand by that. I will die on this hill. This hill have a launcher, umbrella, suntan lotion, and fucking Wi-Fi, bitch. Fight me. Man to ghost for dumb fucking reasons.
It's true.
It don't make no sense.
It was wild. Yeah. So yeah, that's the only recollection I have of being ghosted.
And that's the only time?
Yeah, that's the only time I've ever been ghosted. I can't think of any time that I've been ghosted. And if I'm forgetting, if somebody has ghosted me and I don't remember, please DM me to remind me. But I don't remember being ghosted outside of that.
If you listening to this episode and you drinking something, go put ice in your drink, bitch, because I have lived my life as a fat woman. You know how many times I get ghosted in my life?
Oh no.
Listen. Listen, Linda. Ghosting is a very common part of the fat dating experience. It is what I mean. I've been ghosted by family. Like, my brother went through some shit at one point in my life and ghost like the whole family, and I was like, dude, seriously. But no, I think my worst experience with ghosting was the worst experience because it was repeated ghosting. It was ghosting to come back,
to ghost again,
to come back, to ghost again. And I was like, Casper, I need you to relax, Papa.
Yeah.
You get, first of all, obviously my fault, because not my fault because you shouldn't treat anybody like that, but my fault in that
you let it
I kept allowing the person back in because I was so happy when they used to come back, right? But it literally was just like the mind fuck of like, oh my God, I'm so happy you're back. Oh, you're gone again. It must be my fault. So this person, the ghosting was like I I can't deal with our situation, so I gonna ghost. Or I don't
okay.
want to be honest about the fact that I'm dating somebody else right now, so I'm going to ghost. And it was like, instead of saying, hey, I cannot give you what you want, I cannot be the person you want me to be, instead of just having that conversation and cutting things off, it was, I can't give you what you want, but I still want you, and I still want us and this situation. So I'm going to ghost because...
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Do you think it's a can't or don't want to? Because I feel
Don't
like
want
a lot
to.
of... Yeah. Because I'm like, if you can't, but you still want to be with me, that means you don't want to.
And
because
I'm so glad you said that, because who is holding you hostage?
Exactly. Because my thing is if you couldn't do it and you cared about me, you wouldn't want me to stick around. For instance, when I dated that guy that I've referenced before, who was excellent husband material, if him and I dated now as opposed to a few years ago, I would absolutely be with that man forever. Because I was not ready to be in a relationship and I just could not be that person for him, I let him go.
Yeah.
I recognized that I was holding on to somebody who deserved to be let go. I let him go.
But this goes back to the inner child episode, because what was happening with me is that I was convincing myself that I was not enough for this person to stick around. So I would try to make myself enough when they would come back around. And then I would deal with all those like feelings of abandonment, feelings of not being enough, confusion of just like, well, why, what's the reason? Is this... And it got to the point where, and it was funny because this person actually ghosted me. Like, so we cut off the sort of relationship part and we became friends, right?
Yeah.
Even in friendship, this person was ghosting me. And I'm like, dude, what a
whoever you be, fuck you. Whoever you be, fuck you. I said, fuck you.
So they came back at a point and I was just like, dude, when you do this, do you know what I go through? This was the first time I had actually like explained like the process that goes through my mind when you ghost me. And I was like, sometimes I think you're dead, because my mind goes to the worst possible thing, because I'm like, it can't be me. Why would this person just choose not to talk to me? Like that hurts. So I don't want to think about that. So something must have happened to them. So I can worry about them. Like it's a really fucked up mental process to go through. And I was like, why would you put somebody through that? You could just text them and say, hey, I do not have, and given, right? So all of the reasons for ghosting were always complicated. It was like a number of reasons. And sometimes it was related to mental health, right? This person also struggles with their mental health. Yeah. So at a point it became like, I'm having a depressive episode. I've been having one for a couple of months. This is why. And I'm like, I get that. But you could text me and say, everything you're telling me now, I would rather you had said that 3 months ago, so that I give you your space and I leave you alone. And I pray for you from a distance and wish you the best. But for you to just be like, peace out, like, what a fuck.
And then pop back in as you. And then that's the thing, because if it's truly a matter of mental health, one of the biggest things that you have to accept is that people, at some point, people are just not going to have the energy to continuously be available to be toyed with like that, right? Because it's not saying... Go ahead.
What I asked myself this last time too? What about my mental health?
Exactly.
Like, not trying to negate your situation, not trying to reduce it or take away from what you're experiencing. But why do you think that you ghosting a person and them not knowing where you are or whether or not you're okay, or why you would abandon them, gonna be okay for their mental health? Like, you could ghost me for the sake of yours, but I just supposed to be okay and let you back in.
Yours is exactly, because it's definitely not gonna
because bitch just strong yours. Right? I fucking She-Hulk over here. I gonna be fine regardless.
You know with the strong ones in the community.
And listen, so even with this person aside, there have been multiple times where I've been ghosted by men, and the reasoning I was given was mental health related. Like, I got depressed, or I was going through something, or this and that. And I used to feel so bad, because it's like, if I stay mad at you, after
then you're the bad guy, you're the problem.
Yeah, after you've just told me that you were depressed, that you were dealing with whatever, that you had all these mental demons you needed to deal with, if I still say that's not an excuse, or if I say, but what the fuck, like, if I'm the bad person, like, I'm not being empathetic, I'm not being there for you, or whatever I say to you in this moment after you've just been dealing with what you're dealing with could push you over the edge of whatever you're dealing with.
Something, and we might have to cut this question out of the episode. I'm gonna be honest. and this is not saying that I feel like everybody who have mental health issues do this, because I know that it's not the case. I am well aware that it's not the case. As somebody who struggles with anxiety and depression my damn self, I know that this is not the case, but I find myself wondering, do you think that sometimes those things get weaponized as an excuse?
Yeah, to be honest.
Okay. Because
yeah, and no, if you listening and you feel like somehow we've just told you that like you weaponizing your mental health, like
that's
mama,
not what we're doing.
This
That's
is
not
not
what we're
Payless.
doing.
Every shoe don't fit.
Yes, yeah, that's a good. Thank you for that, because I'm like, I'm not saying that everybody does this,
but no, in those situations, do I feel like sometimes people were being honest and sometimes people were weaponizing their mental health? Yes, because of everything I just said. How could I, in that situation, then draw a boundary and say, cool, everything you just said valid, but you need to stay the fuck away from me. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Yeah. In those situations, it feels almost impossible to not be there for that person and to not be empathetic. And that's why, like, in a lot of those cases, those people were able to come back to me and kind of resume where we started off, because the minute you throw your mental health in there, the minute you, especially as a man, because men don't often open up about that shit.
Yeah, exactly. Then they get to say, oh, this is why I don't say anything, because y'all always. Now, I'm going to just say, you know what? I'm going to just say this, and who get mad going just have to be mad. It's giving narcissism. This is not saying that everybody you were involved with is a narcissist. And I don't have the credentials to diagnose nobody with no narcissistic personality disorder. But what I can point out is some narcissistic ass traits. And one, weaponizing something like that, that's like a narcissistic trait. Somebody who's truly empathetic is going to have the exact struggle you had. How do I set this boundary when this person has been going through so much? You suddenly feel like you're a problem, you're a monster. If you want to say, hey, I understand what you're going through, but this is how you're not going to do that.
Yeah.
It's just wild. It's wild.
It used to bother me so much, because it's just like, why am I always expected to just kind of put my life on pause or continue my life? And then you come back in when I've already processed this and moved past and started to kind of live my life without the concept of you in it. Yeah. And now I have to process all those emotions again because you're back. Again. And if I stay tripping, then I tripping. Like, then I'm not being understanding. I'm not being empathetic. Listen, I used to be, I used to get so fucking mad because I don't think, and this is really why I wanted to do this episode, I really don't think that while ghosting someone, the person who is doing said ghosting really understands mentally and emotionally what the other person goes through. Like, it kind of brings you back to a very childlike place, if that makes sense. Like, I gonna take it there. I don't give a fuck. It really brings you back to a childlike place, especially for people like me who, again, have issues with abandonment. Yeah. Every single time I've been ghosted, I go back to that place of, why doesn't this person love me enough to at least just explain to me why they're not talking to me right now? And that's a very fucked up thing to feel.
I'm sorry.
It's cool. I over it. I married. My man will never ghost me. He tied to me for life.
I love what you say. My man will never ghost me. That's right.
I wish he would. I know where he live. I know where he mother live. I know he father live. I know his social security number.
I was just about to say.
I know his blood type. He couldn't ghost me if he tried. Like, we bonded for life.
Period. But, period.
So yeah, in on the flip side though, in saying all of this, we've acknowledged our feelings about ghosting. We acknowledge that I fuck wrong and it sucks to be on the other side of it. Have you ever ghosted somebody?
Yes. And I'll do it again. That shit again.
Hey, but okay, well, maybe we could provide some context to the people who've been like, why ghost? Why not just say?
So here's the thing. I only just started ghosting in the last couple years, right? I just learned in the last couple of years how notorious me and my fellow Aquarii are for ghosting the people. And it's so funny, y'all. For the people who are not in the VIP section, I happen to be wearing my Aquarius t-shirt today.
Yeah, did you come repping her people today?
Yeah, I literally am wearing an Aquarius shirt today. And I didn't even know we were doing the episode about ghosting until we, started talking about the episode today. So shout out to alignment. But in any case, when I ghost people, which it's not something that happens often, but anytime that I have ghosted somebody, it's because for one, my main reason is because I feel like I'm not valued by them. So they're not going to miss me anyway. Usually I've done or said something to let you know that I'm not feeling some sense of reciprocity, or this connection is not working for me in some fashion. And then if it doesn't feel like anything is changing, I just ghost. I could think of 3 people I've ghosted in the last year. And it hasn't.
Not you got ghosting rotation.
I definitely have a ghosting log, a log of people who've been ghosted.
So do you believe that in certain circumstances it's okay to ghost?
Yes. I feel like if somebody's disrespecting you and playing in your face, ghost them.
So is it ghosting or is it drawing a boundary?
Drawing a boundary. I think so here's the thing. It's ghosting if you've never made it clear that what they're doing is something that doesn't work for you. If it's a thing where you just sitting there teching like bullshit and then you get tired of it and then you dip, granted, you still have the right to do that, but for somebody who's been dishing out bullshit for so long and the person they've been dishing it to has been accepting it with no problem, and you're comfortable dishing out this bullshit, you're gonna be like, wait, where'd they go? Like, what you mean? But at the same time, that person is most likely a piece of shit who don't give a fuck, so they're gonna probably just move on to somebody else to hand bullshit to. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and the difference that I'm hearing is that in situations where you are sort of protecting yourself, you're drawing a boundary, you are creating distance from a person for the sake of your own mental health, like there are occasions where ghosting is called for, right?
Some people,
what about in scenarios where, let's say you dating somebody, they really haven't done anything wrong, you just probably ain't feeling the situation, or there's...
No, I think you should have, and that's the thing, right? Because when you are ghosting somebody in that regard, somebody who you just don't have the courage to say, I don't think this is going to work between us, that's a you problem. You full of shit for that. I don't think anybody deserves to be ghosted in that fashion. But I think people who be playing in your face, ghost those motherfuckers. You know how good it feels to ghost somebody who playing in your face? Because look,
how we don't have them flow charts where it's like, did this person do anything wrong? Yes. Set a boundary, ghost them. Did they do anything wrong? No. Explain to them.
Exactly. We need one of those so bad, because some people don't deserve to be ghosted, and some people absolutely deserve to be ghosted. Even like we talked about it a few episodes ago, and you explained what being ghosted feels like for you, and it made me genuinely say, oh my God, I feel so bad because I had ghosted my fuck buddy of many years, right? Mm-hmm. And then I unghosted him. I unblocked him on everything. Not on everything.
You had tried to like rectify the situation.
I really unblocked him to just try to talk it out, because I'm like, damn, I did consider you a friend, right? I had my reason for ghosting you, which was valid for me, but it doesn't mean that I should have ghosted you, right? Mm-hmm. Unblock this man to have a conversation only to be essentially gaslighted during that conversation. And I literally spent the rest of that night upset and feeling like you deserve to be ghosted the whole time. I should have listened to my first mind and leave your ass in the dark.
I don't go through that too. I think ironically, the only situations where I have ghosted people have been like that. Situations where I had to set a boundary. I had to kind of remove myself from a situation and not really explain things, because explaining things were not in my benefit in those situations. Yeah,
exactly.
And it has largely been in like friendship scenarios. So, this most recent friendship breakup that I've talked about on the podcast, like this person had lived with me, they moved out, and once they moved out, like I did what I needed to do for them in terms of loose ends that needed to be tied up, because I'm not a fucking evil person. Yeah. And then once all of that had been tied up, I ghosted them. Yeah. I didn't respond to their last message to me. I never reached out after that. I haven't followed up. And the reason I needed to do that was because there was no point in me continuing. Like literally it would only bring harm to the situation. There was nothing left to talk about, so I ghosted. And I don't ask myself about it all the time, like, should you have ghosted? Should you have ended it with a conversation? Should you have explained yourself? I don't feel like there was anything to explain. Yeah. So I did that. But in situations where, like, let's say I'm dating somebody and I just wasn't feeling him anymore. It wasn't what I would just be like, sorry, Papa.
And you
ain't
know,
walking.
I really want to because it comes back to like I said, some people just genuinely deserve to be ghosted. Right? Because you just made a valid point. If it's gonna be pointless to explain your point, some people you're genuinely talking to a wall. Some people have no interest in hearing your side of things. Some people have no interest in mending things. Some people have no interest in how things are affecting you because it comes back to them. You know, if you're dealing with people like that, excuse me, protect your energy and ghost them with a scone. Like, it just is what it like. Some people just genuinely deserve to be ghosted, and I know that just sounds so cold and fucked up, but
it honestly, it depends on the scenario. It does.
And another thing, and I know I'm gonna reference it again, but if you're dealing with somebody, and you may not know, right? You don't have a way to know, but if you're dealing with somebody who might check off many boxes for narcissism, ghost they mother scum. Narcissists deserve to be ghosted. I'm gonna say that from the bottom of my heart. Narcissists deserve to be ghosted. We can't assume that everybody who upset us is a narcissist. Let's be clear. Okay, there are specific traits that have to be met. But the reality is if by chance you're dealing with somebody and they do happen to have a lot of those narcissistic tendencies, ghost them. Just move on.
Also, I think so. One of the things that I want to press on to is that if you are ghosting because you are running from your responsibility to say or do something, then your ghosting is fucked up. Like,
yeah, exactly.
A lot of the ghosting that I've dealt with, it's been somebody avoiding accountability, avoiding having to tell me the truth. Let's say they had a woman or...
Which is so fucked up. Oh my God.
Especially, again, and this goes back to, again, my experience as a fat woman in dating. I've been in a lot of situations where men have fetishized me and they liked me or they wanted me sexually, but they did not want to openly date me. So again, I have been in a lot of accidental apartment wrecking situations.
That's so
where
fucked up. I hate these mothers. Listen,
I
get back, you know.
Listen, it have women on St. Croix who swear up and down, right, that I is just this evil bitch who attack people, man. I am not. Your man wanted a fat woman, but he did not want a fat woman publicly. I did not know you was his woman. Okay, sorry.
I'm glad you brought that up because I'm glad you brought that up because let me tell you something. And I'ma just, I feel like I talk too much of my business, right? There was somebody that I was with, and I could see clear as day that if me and that man ended up together for the long term, he would absolutely be cheating on me with that woman. And I resented the fact that he would not just be with who he actually likes with his fucking chest. If you're attracted to fat women, go be with a fat woman. Leave the women who are conventionally, and I just hate using terms like that, but there's a demographic of men who legit, y'all, will go for women who
they have a woman that they're okay with dating publicly because that checks all the boxes.
They check all the boxes that
they
society
have a type of woman. Yeah, they have a type of woman or man that they're attracted to, and they date privately. So they put those marginalized people in very dangerous situations.
And it's so disgusting to me.
And then they ghost them. So, I mean...
They ghost them, they fetishize them, they objectify them. And then what they do, they put them, again, and you made a very good point, they put them in dangerous situations. Yeah. Because then what happened now is, God forbid this person's actual partner finds out that they're cheating. A lot of these delusional clowns gonna be vexed with the other woman as opposed to the man who's a trifling dog. And they got women out here who will bust a cap and people for their man. These men are so fucking reckless and so like obsessed with I need to calm down. Listen, because this kind of fucked the ass me up. Because like
and that has been my lived experience multiple times.
I mean,
we could talk all day about just the wrongness of cheating on somebody, but on top of that, it's the fact that sometimes that person doesn't even know because they think, okay, this person is genuinely invested in me.
Exactly.
And instead of taking accountability, you know, accepting that they've done wrong, being honest with the person who they're misleading, they ghost, and then you find out all of this extra information. You know, many times I have been like, oh, this person ghosted me. Like, I wonder what I did. And then I go out to a club and see this person with their partner, and then my friend is like, oh, they've been together for years, and I'm just like, wow.
That's so fucked
Really?
up to me. Like, and that's
listen, I've been ghosted by somebody who ghosted me because the other person that he was messing with got pregnant. It was very casual, and he by all means could have expressly told me, hey, I was also messing with other people. This person got pregnant. I would like to end this situation to focus on that. He just ghosted me, and I was like, Papa, we all on Twitter.
That's so disrespectful.
We part of the VA Twitter community. You think I wouldn't have find out that you get somebody pregnant?
And you know what's crazy to me? And it goes back to this is not to say that it's a men versus women thing or what have you, but it just clearly goes to show that, for one, a lot of the time it's because they think too much of themselves. They think we're gonna be devastated if they tell us that they have to. Listen, they really be thinking we're gonna be crushed. They really
don't assume my feelings. Don't decide what I'm going to feel or what I'm going to say. Just open your mouth and drop your balls and tell me what you need to fucking say.
Exactly.
Use your words.
Yes, use your big boy words. A lot of them don't have the balls to just tell us what's going on. For one, they trick themselves into thinking that we're going to be so crushed and devastated, when the reality is they're just cowards.
You know,
they're literally cowards.
I glad you said coward, right? Because what'll send me, Deidre, is, I get it. It gets some people who could look at notifications on their phone and be cool. It gets some people who need to clear them fuck by all means, right? Those are not the people I'm talking about. Yes. There are some people who see those notifications or see text messages, and in their head, they're like, okay, at some point I need to respond to this. And there's people who will look at somebody, text them, and straight up ignore that fuck. Yeah. How can you, after having feelings for someone, after having some type of connection, allegedly, see that person texting you, calling you, wondering where the fuck you at, and be okay with just radio silence? Like,
that's weird to me. Now, me, I don't block people, right? But like, again, like, because
if I ghost you, I block you.
I'm blocking you on everything. Now,
because I'm gonna tell pressure you, to respond.
The last dude I claimed, my ex, that I called my ex loosely, I have blocked him.
On block.
No, I've done that. I've been that girl, right? But I blocked him a few months ago, and I thought he was already blocked on Instagram, right? So I blocked him on everything: WhatsApp, iPhone, everything. Thinking he was already blocked on Instagram. He was not. Fucking bitch gonna message me on Instagram. I was like, fuck. Like, so I saw the message. I'm like, damn, I thought I blocked him. So I responded to his message, and then he asked me, oh, by the way, did you block me on WhatsApp?
Yeah. And
I was like, yes. And imagine my surprise when I found that you were able to message me on Instagram. Like, then he's like, why are you so mean? What did I ever do to you? And instead of giving him the laundry list of things he's done to me, which is why I felt the need to distance myself and block him in the first place, I just blocked you there too. I didn't even respond.
You have a great day.
Cause that man playing my face.
But I mean, in that situation, Deidre, I feel like that person already had some type of basic understanding of why you were not in communication anymore, right? There's really no need for closure when you understand, okay, me and this person had a falling out. They feel some type of way about me right now. I'm blocked, cool. But if there's no warning, like in your situation, we were just intimate a day ago.
Literally.
We were just going out. We were on positive terms. Nothing happened. You gave me no sign, no inkling of like, yo, I'm regretting this. I don't want to be in this situation anymore. And you seeing me texting you and calling you and you just ignoring that fuck, that is some sociopathic shit.
No, it's really weird. It's really weird. I was able
and I know Papa to listen to this podcast. I'm so sorry. I know you're listening to this, and I know that for to an extent we've made peace between us, but you wild for that fuck.
Well, I'm saying
you wild for that fuck. Like,
I don't know who you be, but fuck you for ghosting my sis. She could forgive you, but I'm not forgiving you for that. Fuck
How can you be like... And this ain't for that person, but just in general, how can you be okay with making a person feel those emotions?
Yeah, like, it's wild. It's a complete lack of empathy, a total lack of empathy. Yeah. And luckily I was able to not harp on it for too long. Like, I let it go. I was able to heal from it quickly because it was still a new connection. So it's not like we'd been dating for months, but we'd been dating for maybe like a month and a half, maybe. Yeah. So it wasn't a thing where it was forever, but it also was like, hurrah. Like, it just kind of, all it did for me was just affirm that 9 times out of 10, these men just do whatever they think it's going to take to get them some booty.
And this is why, like, it'll bother me, right? Like, it when I've been ghosted in the past, it's affected how I moved in dating situations going forward.
Yeah.
And I remember being in that situation where I was single and I was casually seeing someone, and they promised to meet up with me. And the night come, and you know, they had get caught up doing other stuff. I think they were walking or something, and he didn't text me until the day after and was like, I am so sorry. He was like, I literally didn't leave work until midnight, like all this shit happened. And I remember being so fucking pissed, right? I was so mad. And I was like, you telling me you couldn't step out for a second? I think I reacted so negatively to that one thing. And he was like, why? And I was like, when you just didn't say anything, I expected that you were ghosting me.
Even though he wasn't ghosting you, to wait till the next day to respond to me is still disrespectful.
Yeah.
You don't have the foresight to know while you were at work that you were going to be there late. The way things looking at work, I'm definitely getting out late. I'll let you know by XYZ a time whether or not we could still hang out tonight. That way you at least have the freedom to do something else with your time, or to at least know there's a chance that these plans fall through. And then if by the time I done with work, or by the time that time come, I know I'm going to be too tired to hang out, listen, we're going to have to reschedule. I am so sorry. How does tomorrow look for you? How does that? That's what people who actually want to be involved with you do.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
That's
so these
one thing that I want people to
understand,
understand, because I'm sure that sometimes people listen to these conversations and they think like, oh, well, maybe that was a one-time thing. You can't assume this about this person. Men, as a woman who has dated plenty of men, I need you to understand, you know how often I'm got to do this? Like, this is in your MOU. This is a thing that you do, that you and your brothers do. Okay, ain't just one man who do this to me, you know. Your brethren. This is a common thread in the string of man shit that y'all. This is something y'all have in common. It's the not showing up and not texting to explain why, or in advance and saying, hey, this thing came up. It's the I gonna ghost you because I have this thing and I don't want to talk to you about it because I have this fear of how you gonna react, so I gonna just ghost instead. It's not one man, okay? It's plenty of men
it's all of them
do this, and I have many female friends who can attest to it. This is some shit I don't do.
I feel like, so triggered right now. I just want you to know here, I'm so triggered right now.
I want to play that Janae Aiko song where she was going, I'm
triggered right now. I'm sitting here and I'm literally, as you say, when you're saying, there's like a reel of times where that last bitch that I claim, all these things popped up, and I'm just sitting here like, these niggas don't deserve. I'm
at the point now where obviously don't plan to end up single again, but if I do, I'm going to have such a difficult time dating, because the amount of times that men have kind of just repeated these behavior, the red flag gonna just shoot up and be like, get a fuck out, get a fuck out.
That's where I'm at, because right now I'm very single. It's been a while. I actually just celebrated 4 or 5 months not being involved in any fashion, if you know what I mean.
Congratulations.
Yes, I'm loving it. So I'm very single, and then I've been single for a little over a year, actually. A year and some change now I've been single. But in any case, if you know, I want to have I would like some male company. I've made this clear. You know, if a man pursues me and I'm interested, if my crush say, hey Deidre, let's go skating, I'm gonna be like, bitch, let's go. But in any case, the first time, you don't have no 3 strikes. I'm not a 3 strikes and you're out ass bitch no more. I'm not giving nobody no chances. The first time you play with my time, I'm dipping. And I'm gonna tell you too, I'm not even gonna ghost you. I'm gonna tell you, you don't seem to have good time management skills. You don't seem as bye. I'm not giving nobody no chances or nothing. Bye.
Because I'm sorry, y'all. Like, there's assumptions that I can make about people who do things like ghost, about people who do things like not let you know when they're gonna miss something or be late. Like, there is a level of consideration and respect that you have for people when you call them and say, hey, I running late, or hey, I can't make it today, I'm so sorry, or sorry to cancel plans, can we reschedule? Like, it's not just some etiquette frou-frou bullshit. Like, it's literally just respect and consideration, and it takes 2 seconds to do.
2 seconds.
Out here ghosting because you don't want to tell me that you depressed. fine. I get how depression works. I get that sometimes people self-isolate, but I also have too many friends and family members who have actual, like, major depressive disorder who to hit me up and be like, hey, I need to disappear for a little while. I need it. I need a moment.
Exactly.
And I'd be like, cool. Or I'd be like, hey, you good? No, I'm going through some shit right now. I'll talk to you when I talk to you. Cool.
Exactly.
Fine. We are adults. Nobody is asking you to perform an act that is like so far outside of your comfort zone that you gonna fucking die. A text.
Exactly.
It is 2022. You can't send a text?
First of all, you don't even have to pick up the phone. You could tell Siri to send it. Don't fucking play in my face. Because let me tell you something. And this is not comparing a relationship to a job. But guess what? If you're going to be late to work, you don't notify somebody. Bitch, if you're going to be late for this date, notify me.
Listen, in 1865, motherfuckers was sending letters, okay? Letters. Through like messenger pigeons and fuck. To talk to the love of their life. And you have access to internet, instant messaging. From the time I leave your thumb, my phone dinging, and you can't text me back. Get your mother's.
You don't even have to use your thumbs no more. You could send a voice note. You have.
You get earpods. You washing dishes. You could tell, hey Siri, tell that bitch I don't want to talk to she no more. Siri gonna be like, your text message says, tell that bitch I don't want to talk to her anymore. Like, hit send. Yes. See how fast that was.
Y'all not gonna keep playing in my face, which is why listen, I'm not even looking at red flags no more. If that fuck is beige, pink, tinged in any fashion,
that flag just gotta look a little off white.
Yep, just a little bit, and you gotta go. Bye.
If in the brightest hint of green, me not fuck. So we've come to the conclusion there are scenarios in which ghosting is okay. They typically have to do with your boundaries and your mental health and what you feel you need to do. Yeah. But in situations where someone did nothing fucking wrong.
Even there was a point where I would use time spent as an excuse, right? Like, oh, we don't know each other that well. It's not like we were a couple. Even still, that's not okay. Yeah. It's still not okay. No. Even if it's somebody you met on Tinder and y'all went on like 2 dates and it's just you're just not feeling it. It's okay to simply say, I want to move in another direction. Yeah. I wish you well.
Yeah, like if there's some type of anticipation of like continued connection, if things went really well, like you have to understand that like people are expecting things to go well. And if sometimes people don't have a clear signal of like, okay, this wasn't what I wanted, then they expect that continues connection and for things to continue going well. So no, they don't deserve to be fucking ghosted.
Yeah, don't stop ghosting people. We leaving like, that shit in 20. Yeah, we leaving it back there. It's not okay.
Put your big boy panties on or your big girl panties on and do what you need to do.
Yeah. Oh, this was good. Good.
And if you're listening to this episode and you ghost me in the past, well, bitch,
fuck you.
Yeah.
I'm mad as hell at every motherfucker who ever goes to you. Hey, Isa.
Yeah, I mean,
fuck all of
honestly, now it's looking back, it is people who probably didn't deserve to have a continued relationship with me anyway. But it still sucked. And I want to be like, oh, it made me the person I am. It made me better. No, that fucker suck.
No, it sucks. Not every lesson is supposed to enter your life, right? Yeah. Because my favorite thing, the thing that gets me through hard times is that a loss is not a loss, it's a lesson. But not every L is a lesson. Sometimes people just ain't. Sometimes you've been dealing with a fucking loser. And then they bring that losing ass energy in your fucking aura.
Like sometimes that shit the legit suck. And it took a long time for me. I'm gonna be real. The reason ghosting really sucked is because emotionally I was not an emotionally mature person. I was a person who was dealing with abandonment issues, so I didn't react to ghosting how a stronger person might have. I didn't just pack up my shit and dust it off my shoulder and move on. No, I was hurt and I was bothered,
and that's fair.
It affected me mentally, and that fuck sucked. So if you ghosted me in the past, your dick probably smile and your woman didn't want you anyway.
Well, on that
Deidre, tell the people and bye.
Bye.
Okay, no wait, you can't tell the people and bye yet because I gotta do our housekeeping.
Oh yeah. Oh, before housekeeping, this is so random. But look at my orchid.
Your orchid
She's
is very
fucking
cute.
flourishing. She's so stunning.
she's
I know this is so random. Y'all gonna hate me today.
No, the patrons will probably be like, what the fuck Deidre every time? This is Deidre every Sunday. But no, yeah, I mean, obviously, guys, you know what to do. Tag us at Good Up Pod on all social media. Use hashtag Good Up Tuesday. We have a very interesting Patreon account, which is that you could pay any amount of money and still receive the same access to all of the same bonus content. And I did that because I recognize that we are living in very tough times and everybody don't have the same amount of money, but still sometimes people want to support Good Up. So your $1 is the same to me as somebody's 10, and you gonna get the same extra content because it means you are a part of our VIP section. So you go help us keep the motherfucking lights on in this bitch at patreon.com/gooduppodcast. Also, you are now hearing ads on this podcast. I do recognize that. We need to keep the lights on in this bitch. We are now monetized.
Hey.
So if you hear a random white person talking in the middle of this podcast, don't. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, just let us make our money, man.
Yeah,
let us make our money. It's free for you. It's click the ad. It might be something that actually really is beneficial to you.
No, yeah. Yeah, and for the most part, it has been other podcasts advertising, and they seem really interesting. So just know that we have ads because we need to keep the lights on in this bitch. Yeah. So with all that being said, we love you guys. We will see you so next week. And Deidre, tell the people bye.
Bye.
Good Up is hosted and produced by Deidre Ritter and Hey Isaac Quinones Ivory, and is a proud member of the Kickin' It family. Find us on all social media platforms at Good Up Pod. Use hashtag Good Up Tuesday to continue the conversation and get access to exclusive bonus content at patreon.com/gooduppodcast.